Welcome to the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast, the show where ambition is celebrated, not silenced. Lori, Ann, and Angie are your hosts, and each week we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about women doing extraordinary things in their lives and in their businesses. Here we don't shrink to fit expectations or apologize for our success. We share stories that are inspiring, hilarious, and always authentic, because becoming unstoppable isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and join our community of women who know that no is a complete sentence and there are no limits to what we can achieve together. All right, ladies, we are here for another episode of Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. And it's so nice to see everyone here today. How are you ladies doing?
Fantastic.
All good here. Survived the wicked storm last night.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're glad you're safe. And I know we've all been experiencing a heat wave, so hopefully everyone listening is in a nice, cool spot enjoying the day. And today we have a really interesting topic that we had a little talk about this prior to the show, that a lot of women are experiencing like apologizing for being who they are. They're apologizing for being authentic, and how, like, it's like saying I'm sorry. It's like, oh, my power was out the other day and I wasn't able to get on Zoom with you. I'm sorry. What? Like, why are we apologizing for that? Right? It's kind of one of those things. And it's like, so why are we apologizing for being who we are and how we show up and being authentic to ourselves? So what do you ladies, let's dive in.
And I'd like to add to that, not only apologizing, but afraid to be their authentic self.
I'm going to challenge that. I don't know that it's a fear of being their authentic selves. I think it's a lack of knowing what their authentic self is. I think unless you've really gone through and challenged some beliefs that you were told by parents and teachers and, leaders at church, whoever, until you challenge those beliefs and really spend some time figuring out who you are, you don't know what your authentic self is. So they're not being untrue. They just don't have any idea.
Well, and I guess I'm taking that from the perspective of my as a new entrepreneur. I believed that I was told in order to be successful, I had to do X, Y, Z and I don't want to say look a certain way, but dress professionally. I've been told, oh, you could never get into, a corporate organization unless you're dressed in a suit and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, then I don't want to go there again. I don't want to go there again. But now I know better. I'm going to give it a try anyway because I am who I am. I have wisdom. And if they're not interested in me because I'm not wearing a suit, so be it. I'm not going in there in a t-shirt, but I don't come here in a t-shirt either. Why? Because I feel better, dressing a little nicer sometimes. You never know. You might see me in a raggy t-shirt sometimes,
I used to laugh. One of the places I worked, they complained about jeans day. They're like, you're in here in jeans. I'm like, dude, my jeans cost more than that entire suit I had on yesterday. I promise you that. So don't pick on my jeans.
Yeah. And if it's jeans day, why wouldn't you be wearing jeans? I mean, if you're not comfortable in jeans, yeah, but yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I had a coach tell me early days of my entrepreneurial journey that I needed to show up in branded gear. Um, and I was like, what? I mean, now for certain things, it is kind of fun to get a branding on a tank. I don't wear t-shirts, I wear tank tops and on a tank top and that type of thing. But to show up all the time and that feels icky. It's just, to me, it's salesy. But if you're going to a trade show or you're going to be a vendor, that's one thing. But just to show up walking outside, going to dinner with friends and family to wear branded gear, which is where she was going because she's like, you don't know who might need your services. And it opens up conversations and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, and, I like a little diversity in my wardrobe and except pants. I still don't do pants, but
not even in public.
If I could get away with it, no. I'm glad it's shorts season. I will just say that.
Yes.
And I mostly wear. Even in the winter time, I wear capris because I just hate pants. But anyhow, it's just interesting the different trains of thought that are out there from gurus and experts who say you should do, and it's like, don't shoot on me. I don't
right.
shoot on you. Don't shoot on me.
Exactly.
You should on me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, there's just so much that that people tell us, like, how we should present ourselves or how we should show up or whatever. And if you're not sure who you are or how you want to show up or something, that's when you work with like Lori, who helps pull out, like, what are the things that bring you the most joy and happiness and contentment in your life? That's where you work with Anne, who brings out that confidence and those leadership skills that are authentic to you and that you get you to a point where you're very comfortable in your own skin, and know, like, this is just who I am. And it's still a process. I mean, I learn things about myself all the time. And but it's just an ongoing process, and every time I learn something, I'm like, that's such a gift. And it's like, oh, cool, I learned that about myself today. Pretty nice.
So I love that you said confidence, because yesterday I was talking to a group of people, and so I have 2.5 pound kittens. One of them weighed like 6 ounces when I first rescued him, and the other one weighed like right at a pound. So it's been a battle keeping them alive, but they're thriving and doing well. But I was talking to them like, have kitten confidence. And they looked at me like, what's kitten confidence? Like, those cats, if they're scared of something, they're not scared for very long. They may hide and peek for a minute, but then they just charge right in again. Like, fear doesn't hold them back for very long. When the little boy, when he wants something, he literally screams. Like, he asks for what he wants. And if I'm standing there making his food and not doing it fast enough, he will climb me. Like, just climb up me to get to what he wants. And
Mom, listen.
When they play, they're, rough and tumble, and they try new things and they check out new stuff. And the best part is they do it all with joy and excitement. Like, those kittens, it doesn't matter what situation you put them in, whether the dog's, trying to lick their hiney, or there's another cat that they're checking out. Like, everything is done with this excitement and enthusiasm. Like, if every entrepreneur went into every situation with kitten confidence, I feel like the landscape would be slightly different.
Yes, I love that.
I love that too. It's like, I'm really a lion. Get out of my way. I'm going to do what I got to do it, play or whatever.
I am a Leo. I need to bring out that Leo more often. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And I used to struggle with this a lot, especially in my 20s. because I've had this personality since I was 4. Like, I mean, my poor parents and my poor teachers, like, I've been this big personality since I was 4. But I also, my dad fostered that. He was like, be who you are. And he just fostered that in me. So every time I'm like, you created me this way, you made me this way as a joke. But in my 20s, I was working for Rubbermaid, which was a Fortune 500 company, and it was headquartered in the town that I live in at the time. And I would go into these rooms and I would just act like I owned the place. I would just act like I knew everything. I didn't know crap. Let me just be honest. I'm in here with, senior vice presidents, college educated at the time. I hadn't gone to college. I didn't have a lot of worldly knowledge at that point in my life. And I would just act like I owned the room. And I actually got talked to about it a couple of times. But I'm like, whoops. But then I had an idea that Rubbermaid actually implemented and that they actually paid me for my intellectual property. And so even though I got talked to, had I let that hold me back or let that keep me small, even though I was in rooms I honestly didn't have any business being in at that point in my life. I was like 23 years old. And my point is, I wouldn't have had, that thought that I shared and I got paid for my intellectual property at that time. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. If today's conversation fired you up, inspired you, or made you laugh out loud, don't forget to hit subscribe and share this episode with another unstoppable woman in your life. Remember, you don't have to apologize for your ambition, and you never have to shrink to fit someone else's expectations. Keep showing up, keep breaking barriers, and keep living life on your own terms. Until next time, stay unapologetic, stay unstoppable.